Best in Blue.
Connecting you, the listener, to the everyday inner workings of the Memphis Police Department.
Best in Blue on the Kazukian Network.
Welcome back to the Best in Blue, where we encourage our listeners to always be passionate about your community by lending a hand to your neighbors and always remaining helpful, hopeful, and vigilant. Working together, we can make a better Memphis. And speaking of a better Memphis, we have one of our very own Best in Blue with us on today. Matter of fact, we got two. We've got Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Barr of the Traffic Bureau, and they will be here talking to us about the work of the PST. That's right, the Police Service Technician staff. So don't change that dial. We'll be right back with Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Barr right here on the Best in Blue on the Kazukian Network.
Best in Blue. Best in Blue.
That means we go to the schools, we go to the churches, we do all types of programs to try to build the relationship between law enforcement and the community.
Best in Blue on the Kazukian Network.
We're back with the Best in Blue right here on the Kazukian Network. I am DC, the host of this wonderful program. And in the studio today, as promised, we have none other than Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and also PST Ball. Welcome to Best in Blue.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us, DC.
Man, I tell you, it's good to see you. My first time meeting you, young man. My very first time meeting you. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, let's get into this thing real quick, Lieutenant Colonel, and that is the PST program. They have the tan uniforms on. A lot of citizens want to know the difference and what PST actually is.
PST actually is the Police Service Technician. We use the PST DC as an extension of the Memphis Police Department. Due to the fact that we try to make sure that the officers in blue have enough time and not tied up on accidents, and we try to utilize the police department or officers to make calls. And the PST program was brought back in 2016. For that particular function. It frees up officers from making calls, traffic calls, or crash calls. Sure. And the PSTs, I like to look at them as being an extension of helping police officers in uniform.
Wow. So PST Ball, one of those things, and you apparently are pretty new to the realm, right? You hadn't been around 10 or 12 years, right? So you just got there.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
I mean, it's amazing. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be an officer. So when I heard about this in high school, I jumped quickly on it. Wow.
You heard about this in high school?
Yes.
So how long have you been a part of the department
now? 2 years and a couple months.
2 years and a couple of months.
Yes.
Wow. Let's get into this thing. Lieutenant Colonel, what are some of the requirements? If you got a lot of listeners out there who may say, hey, look, I may want to take a look at this program and see if this fits me. I don't know. It may and it may not. So what are some of the requirements for being a PST?
Well, we have two prong set. We have the Blue Path, which PST Bar is part of it, a Blue Pather. The Blue Pathers come in from high school. Once they graduate from high school, they go on the city website, fill out an application, advising that they want to become a police officer, and someone from City Hall at that particular juncture will call them and inform them when they're to meet and the next procedure forward. The Blue Path process was designed, and is the director, Michael Rollins, I would say, baby.
One of his babies, right?
One of his babies, and that he's very adamant about.
Pretty innovative.
Very passionate about that.
I don't know if I've heard of something like this, and of course I get a chance to travel a lot, and I got a lot of buddies in places like the Dallas area and DC area and some other places, even out on the West Coast. I don't know if I've seen anything like this, where you can actually have a young person who's interested in law enforcement on the high school level, and if they, of course, they keep their grades up in their studies and they, stay on the right pathway, you have a pathway to being hired on at some point, possibly down the road as a police officer. Absolutely.
And we encourage those that in high school, this is a great profession. One of the criteria is just as you stated, to make sure you stay out of trouble, make sure you get your grades,
yes, sir,
become a graduate once you turn 18 years of age, you can become a PST or a police service technician.
You spent a few years on the department.
35.
35 years.
Yes, I was a PST.
Is that right?
Absolutely. The first class, 1984, July the 14th.
You have a story to tell these young folks who are coming, these folks that are coming into the PST program that, look, and look where you're at now, Lieutenant Colonel, from a PST to Lieutenant Colonel.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
It has been extremely amazing. It's been a wonderful future, and I was grateful for the police service technician position.
Now, the PST process is a little bit different than the Blue Path, right? So if there's people who already graduated from high school, what do they have the same opportunity just to go through and say, look, I want to be a part of this program. What do I need to do?
Absolutely. DC, one of the issues that we used to have is that a lot of individuals did not have what we call 54 credited hours from college. Okay. And once they decide they want to become a police service technician, which is the straight on PST program, they can be 18 and above. We will pay for their education once they obtain 54 credit hours within 3 years.
Within 3 years?
Within 3 years. And from that point, they can become a police officer.
Wow. You're listening to The Best in Blue right here on the Kazukia Network, and we're sitting here with Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Ball, and we are really just kind of breaking this thing down on what the requirements are for being not only a PST, being a part of the PST program, but also there's another pathway, that's this Blue Path that you can come through the high school piece. Now, I want to touch back on that again. Is that like maybe 10th grade, 11th grade that you show interest, or is it a senior deal? How does that work, Lieutenant Colonel?
Well, yes. There are some schools that have programs that has criminal justice programs. And the recruitment go to different high schools.
Sure.
Okay. And they try to work along with the principals and the counselors to put the word out, so to speak.
Sure. And
we also try to let the parents know that there's a great possibility that your child at 18 can be making over $30,000 a year.
Wow.
Once they become a police service technician. We do have some that do not quite make the SAT scores.
Sure.
And some parents out there do struggle with paying for college for their children.
One right here. I got two. I got two.
In the police service technician program, we do pay for the college.
You know what's awesome about that is that, and I hate to say this, but you know the armed services now they got another competitor out there, because you all offer something that a lot of folks want to go to the armed services to do. Well, I can go there and I can get my college paid for me free if I go, right? Well, if you go the path here, it appears that the Memphis Police Department is willing to invest in your education as well to make you whole.
Absolutely.
Wow. So PST Ball, in terms of the training, and we want to talk to you real quickly about that before we get out of here into another piece, but how was the training?
The training was all right, but if you're not used to being pretty active, they're gonna push you, but it's for your own benefit. I like to look at it as I was getting paid to work out.
So a little bit of strengthening and conditioning, a little bit of PT work. You know, you got to get out there and do a little running, possibly.
Yeah, you run a whole lot. Yeah, because you need the endurance. You run a whole lot.
That probably wouldn't be me. Hey, I tell you what, let's put a pin right there. We'll come right back with more of the Best in Blue with Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Ball right here on the Best in Blue.
Best in Blue.
Riffin' on jazz.
When two friends get together to kick it
about jazz, it's called Riffin' on Jazz.
Catch us riffing on jazz every week right here on your favorite broadcast or podcast platforms.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazukian Network.
We're back with the Best in Blue right here on the Kazukia Network. And of course, sitting in the studio with me today is Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Ball. And we've been talking a lot about some of the requirements for being a member of this elite group of people, PST. And I don't want to say young people all the time, because there's probably some who are a little bit more seasoned also as well in the PST ranks. Am I not right, Lieutenant Colonel?
You're absolutely right.
Of course, not me. I'm probably way out of. But anyway, that's a whole nother story right there. We're not going to talk about me. But one of the other things we were talking about PST ball was some of the, I guess some of the physical activity. You said that a little bit of running is out there as well too. But so 6 weeks, is that what it takes?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
No, not 6 weeks of straight running though, is it?
No, it's not 6 weeks of straight running. You do a lot of more other stuff. Then you learn the traffic side of everything. Like how to take accident reports, how to do accidents, learn the traffic laws, and all that. Oh, okay. So that's pretty good. So Lieutenant Colonel, of course, when you started as a PST, I'm sure you probably came in along with some of the police recruits as well, right? Did you get a chance to see some of the folks who were getting ready to go straight through, so to speak?
Not during that particular time.
Sure.
Back in 1984, no. We actually had 84 PSTs.
80? That's a class by itself.
Absolutely.
Wow. Where could you put all those folks at? Good grief.
Well, in the old facility on Central, at the Central Precinct.
Wow. Is that right? So as we talk about the requirements, now when you're on the scene, so to speak, there's an accident or there's something that's going on, even when you have some of the other investigative things going on, the PSTs don't necessarily partake in the investigation, right? Or what is their role? I guess I would ask in that particular instance. If not an accident, maybe let's just say there was a robbery or something like, and you have a PST in the area and they need something. Some of the officers may need some kind of crowd control, or if nothing else to be said, I guess.
Most of the time, the PSTs make the scene. They be the first respondent, and what they do is, depending on the situation, they do assist us, which is STIS, is Special Traffic Investigative Squad. They will hold the scene. They will call by radio and advise whether they have a critical or fatal. And at that particular time, they will set up the parameters. They will gather the information, and they will hold that scene until the special traffic investigators arrive on the scene.
Wow. So have you seen in your career working with this, and you've trained a lot, if you've been in the department, and I'm assuming you've been around a while in traffic, have you seen where some of the citizens out there were just so irate, they're just not going to listen to anybody, especially maybe one of the PST? Yes,
we have had that situation before.
What do you, I mean, why would a person, if you're there, and let's just say you were involved in an accident, why wouldn't you want a neutral body or somebody to sit there and listen and say, hey, hold on a moment, hold on, we got help on the way, but I got these folks here who are going to maintain the scene, make sure everything is in order right now. What happens, Lieutenant Colonel, when you have that issue come up?
When we have that issue come up, we advise and teaches the PSTs to get on the radio, advise the dispatcher that they have an irate individual and they are to leave the scene immediately, while they also call in officers for assistance.
Wow, amazing. Boy, I tell you, you're listening to The Best in Blue right here on the Kazuki Network. So PST Ball, some of the duties, I mean, you've been out there on the streets, you've been in the car, you've probably seen some of these same things we're talking about here. What are some of the things that people wouldn't absolutely think that you'd see out there? What are some of the extra duties that you've done as well, too?
Extra duties, we also write parking citations for people that call us about businesses, people parking illegally. We also do that.
I think I got one of those. I'm not going to say that you did that, but I didn't see your name on it. But I'm not going to talk about that. But now, when you're out there and on some of these crash scenes, have you had the opportunity to have a citizen that may not be as cooperative as you'd liked?
Yeah, I run into that. Like Lieutenant Colonel said, we get on the air and just advise dispatcher that someone's acting rowdy, and we are told to clear the scene, like go around the corner somewhere until the officers get there. Sure. Most times when they see lights and all that, they try to calm down.
So we're asking, number one, our citizens to be respectful, right? Be respectful, Lieutenant Colonel, because they have a job to do as well, correct?
Yes, see, we do expect for them, or we are asking them to please understand the situation. We do understand that they've been involved in a crash, and we understand that they're upset at that particular point as it relates to what had happened on the scene, or the fact that their vehicle has is no longer in use, or it has to be towed.
Yeah. And so this is not an internship. So they're actually compensated for the work. So this is not free work or volunteer work. This is not the candy stripers. I'm not saying anything against candy stripes. Back in the day, they had a very tough job to do in the hospitals, but these folks are out there working a job, and they're being compensated, right, at a pretty decent rate.
Yes, sir, they are. They work just as hard as any regular police officer.
Sure.
They are out there in the rain, out there in the sun, out there in the snow, out there in the tornado, and etc. And they put their heart into the work that they have to do, and they do know their responsibility, and for the most part, it is being fulfilled.
And one of those things that I know a lot of citizens probably like to ask is, we see the cars, we see the white cars with the yellow lights, of course. We see them kind of all over the city a little bit. Are they assigned in a pattern like the precincts? Are they assigned to a precinct like the officers, or do they start at a central location and they, move out to the rest of the city?
All the PSTs are centrally located at the traffic division.
Okay.
All of them are given an assigned number, which they fulfilled all the precincts, north, south, east, west, Appleton Farms, central, not central, but Crump and Tillman stations. They are all over the city.
Oh, wow. So they cover this thing.
They cover the city.
Wow. PST Ball, what precinct or what area do you primarily work out of right now?
Currently, right now, I work in the office. I help out with the school crossing guards.
Okay.
That's currently what I'm doing.
And so school crossing guards are part of the traffic division as well?
Yes, they are.
Wow. And so, but before you got into the office area, you were doing, where were you assigned at then?
Primarily every day they give us a different area, but primarily I used to work a lot of Old Allen and the North Memphis.
Did you grow up in North Memphis?
No, I actually grew up in Whitehaven.
So, that also, just like with the police officers, when they're training, that gives them an opportunity to see the other side of the city, right? And they get a chance to interact with other citizens that they may not have. If I grew up in Whitehaven, probably going toward Bengestown and all that stuff out there, I may not have gotten out there quite a bit, but it gives them a good opportunity to meet folks who are not necessarily in their communities, right?
That is correct. It also helps them when they become the best in blue, that they are generally familiar with the territories.
Wow, that's it, being a part of the best in blue. So hold on, I'll tell you what, we'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about this PST program and also Blue Path and how folks can get really, really engaged and get in touch with you all so they can be a part of it. We'll be right back with more right here on the Best in Blue.
Hey, I'm Williams Brack, co-host of Grind Set. The insight you gain from us and our guests will motivate you to take the leap into entrepreneurship. So stay with us. What's your grind set? And if you happen to miss some of our episodes, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grind Set on the Kadzukian Network.
Best in Blue.
We're back with the Best in Blue right here on the Kadzukian Network. Of course, I am DC, sitting here along with Lieutenant Colonel Angela Jenkins and PST Ball. And we've just kind of run down the entire list of to-dos and requirements for being a part of the PST program as well as the Blue Path program. But a couple other things I really want to get into what you are looking for, Lieutenant Colonel. You have been you were a part of the program, I think the first one you said, right, in 84?
True.
Wow. The first one in 84. And so you know what the department's looking for as far as a PST recruit and a future officer, right? So from a compatibility standpoint, what are you looking for other than a PST bar? If you could replicate him, what are you looking for in those bars out there to come?
What I'm looking for, I can utilize an example of PST bar. A person that comes to work, goes to school. PST bar actually obtained his associate's degree within 2 years.
Wow.
He works hard. He comes to work on time. No matter what assignment we give him, he takes it with a smile and he completes it. His uniform is always immaculate. Wow. He comes in with his hair always within policy and guidelines. He knows how to communicate with people, and he has a passion for the citizens. And that's what I like about him, and that's what we're looking for.
A passionate person who wants to serve the citizens of the city. And I think that's what we want all of our police. I mean, we're not asking you to be this or that. We know there are a lot of extra or exogenous things out there in our communities and around the country that are happening, but to have somebody who just has a passion for the work, right? You've been around 35 years, you know. More people like you and some others out there would make, I think will change this narrative out there, that this very negative narrative that's around the country that all police officers are bad, so to speak. And you know that it's out there, but that's not necessarily true at all.
No, sir, it's not.
You know, you have some bad football players, right? Bad basketball, but you have some folks like that in our society. But that's a whole nother show. But anyway, Ba, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and she just touched on a second ago, was the dress and the hair and the haircut and so forth. I know personally that Director Rollins is a stickler for neat uniforms and policy driven haircuts and attire. Was that an issue with a millennial like young person like yourself and maybe some of the others that come in the PST program?
I mean, basically, all that it really is just to make yourself look neat. So I mean, sure. Who wouldn't want to make themselves look neat? If they say have your shoes on, you trying to have some nice sparkly shoes, tuck your shirt in, because without your shirt tucked in, it's ugly. So it's basically them trying to help you out. And you also representing the Memphis Police Department, so you can't make the police department look bad.
Have you ever gotten a chance to meet the director?
Yes, I have.
Has he ever looked at your uniform and said, "Young man, you look decent. You look good"?
Yeah, that's
one of the words. That's some of the words you use with you.
They look at you up and down. So we basically have eyes everywhere because we all around the city, and we don't know who we gonna meet. We can meet some undercover people, colonels that's off. They always look at us. As soon as they see them lights, they looking too. As soon as we step out the car, they're looking at uniform. They're looking at your hair. They're looking if you got your traffic vest on. So we got eyes everywhere because basically we the next generation. They want us to start as PSTs to do everything right. So eventually when we move on, we're going to do everything right.
I like the way you said it. They want you to do everything right. So eventually when you move on, you will do everything right.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
That's right. Right here on the Best in Blue on the Kazuki Network. Now, Lieutenant Colonel, I'll knock you down a bit here. Let me make sure. I got a young person, or I got a person who's just completed 2 years of college, and they're thinking about law enforcement. What would you say to that young person?
I would say to that young person is, as you know, DC, there's some negativeness of the way the citizens sometimes portray or look at the police department. And
not just here, but around the country, because we've not had as much of an issue in our city.
Of course, we have not, and we hope we never will.
Sure.
As long as we stay positive and continue to represent the police department in a positive light and to assist the citizens in any way possible. I would say to that person, if you feel in your heart that there's some changes that need to be taken in effect with the Memphis Police Department, the best way to do that is to be inside.
Wow.
And to join the police department and see what you can do, or come with some new ideas that you feel that might be representative of the whole for the city of Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow, I like that. Be a part. Get on the inside. You know, especially if you have a tenant, you think, hey, law enforcement may be for me. You know, it may actually be for me. So now the Blue Path application, I want to go there again. The Blue Path application piece is open, but now the PST is not right now. I want to make sure we're correct on this. So if citizens go out there and they get to looking, I don't want them to be looking. So, well, she just said the PSTs are hiring, but we're not at this point, right, Lieutenant Colonel?
No, not at this point. We are not. We have not been given a green light. And of course, if you consistently check the website, they say you'll be able to see what is open and what is not open at this point.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, when you got hired on, you went through the Blue Path, right? So was there a counselor that said, "Hey, are you interested in law enforcement?" Or was there a police officer, maybe in your family or a friend that kind of gave you an idea? I think this thing may be for me. PST Ball.
Well, I always wanted to become an officer. I always wanted to make a change in my community. Okay. And it was they actually had a representative from the city of Memphis come down to my high school to talk about the program. And when me and my friend heard it, we was like, oh, we always want to become officers, so why not sign up? So that's when we signed up. I was actually part of the first Blue Path program.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So did your friend join?
Nah, he ended up not joining.
He did not join. What happened, man? Come on, you got to exert some pressure on this guy, man. Tell him, hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
This thing is great. I'm getting paid every 2 weeks, and I have a great job. I get a chance to smile. I get a chance to meet a lot of different people. Right?
Yes, exactly. You meet wonderful people, and we have PSTs that actually met stars that's been in accidents. So it is wonderful just serving the community, being out there every day. And they just started this thing where we go downtown as an ambassador, ride around, help people out. You meet so much people. It's just amazing.
I've seen you all at the Memphis in May Festival. I've seen you with Trap. I've seen also just lately we've had this huge tornado that came through the southeast part of our city, and I understand you all were out there in that Mount Moriah area out there, just really helping control some of the traffic flow out there, even when their lights are out. When you all out there doing your jobs.
Yes, right. We anything dealing with traffic, as long as it's not on the interstate, there's a PST somewhere over there. So we help out with disasters. We come in, we just assist officers, assist with the citizen, and anything that we can do, we'll try to do.
Man, with that kind of attitude, you're going to be one of the best in blue here very, very soon. I believe that because I think you got a lieutenant colonel that's pulling for you. All right, I really do. Lieutenant Colonel, some closing thoughts. Give me some closing thoughts for the citizens out there who are thinking about either law enforcement, who are just saying, hey, what can I do to make my community better?
Well, DC, I look at it as me being on for 35 years on the Memphis Police Department. And it's been trying. It's been difficult, but it's been wonderful. I've had all kinds of opportunities and still is as of today assisting any citizens that I possibly can. We're developing programs for countless of reasons, just trying to reach out and make sure that we leave a positive note and to let the citizens know that we love them. The person or individuals that really truly want to be in law enforcement, these are some of the things that you need to look into or think about while you are pressing that button and saying that I want to send this application through to be law enforcement. You have to love your city. You have to want to affect change. You have to have that heart to understand that law enforcement is not negative within itself. It's just negative views. Sure. And you can have the opportunity by joining in or becoming the best in blue to make the differences that you feel that is warranted. And then you get an opportunity inside to actually see what police officers do on a daily basis. Wow. And we have all types of citizen police academies. You can join those. You can actually see what we do from inside out. You can do ride-alongs once you're within the Citizen Police Academy. Then you can actually get first-hand taste of what we do with and what we deal with on a daily basis. I think law enforcement truly is an effective means, number one, to support your family. Yeah. Number two, to further yourself in education, because I'm an advocate for education. Sure. Also, it's just purely to be able to just assist your neighbor, assist your community, to help the Memphis Police Department grow in the community within itself.
I like the way you said that. To assist your neighbor and to help your community. Wow. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you for coming out. PST Ball, you all have been wonderful. I think our citizens know a lot more about the PST program and Blue Pass program because you all are truly the best in blue.
Thank you so much, DC.
Thank you, DC.
Kind words.
We'll be right back with some closing thoughts right here on the Best in Blue.
Best in Blue. Keeping it real, right, and funky.
Is this an opportunity that we can seize and express interest from the governor and the state to act on the behalf of young people in Shelby County? There are stories that we don't want to tell because they will piss some folks off, make some folk mad.
Funky Politics on the Kazukian Network.
You know, no matter what neighborhood we live in and we grew up in here in Memphis, all of us deserve to live in a safe, livable, and walkable community. As Memphians, I believe that Lieutenant Colonel Jenkins and PST BOI and the staff of PST officers, they contribute in a meaningful way in keeping us safe on the roadway and actually helpful when we have one of those, fender benders out there, right? So again, make sure you see those PSTs, respect the fact that they've got a job to do and they do it pretty well. And so again, as I always say, you see something, say something. If you want more Best in Blue, please go to Kazukian.com or download the Kazukian app by visiting the App Store. So see you next time here on the Best in Blue, right here on the Kazukian Network.
Kazukian Network.